First signs. The quantum readings made no sense. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at her holographic display aboard the research vessel Horizon, running the calculations for the fifth time. The energy patterns emanating from the Carina Nebula violated every principle of quantum mechanics she'd learned during her 15 years as a quantum physicist. "Director Hayes, you need to see this," she called out, not taking her eyes off the shifting data streams. The readings showed particles existing in superposition at a macroscopic scale, something that should be impossible according to everything humanity knew about physics. Michael Hayes, the mission director, drifted over in the zero-gravity lab module. His weathered face creased with concern as he studied the readings. Could it be equipment malfunction? Sarah shook her head. Already checked. 3 different sensor arrays are picking up the same patterns. Whatever this is, it's real. The Horizon had been mapping quantum fluctuations in the nebula for the past 6 months, part of humanity's ongoing efforts to understand the fundamental nature of reality. But nothing in their mission parameters had prepared them for this. Look at this pattern. Sarah highlighted a recurring sequence in the data. It's too ordered to be natural. These quantum states are being manipulated deliberately. Hayes frowned. You're saying this is artificial. Some kind of technology. No, Sarah replied, pulling up a new set of readings. The energy signature has organic patterns. I think we're looking at a life form that exists in quantum superposition. Before Hayes could respond, the ship's AI chimed in. Alert. Unknown entities approaching from heading 047 Mark 183. The main view screen activated, showing a cluster of crystalline formations moving through space. They seemed to shimmer and shift, never quite settling into a fixed shape or position. As Sarah watched, her instruments recorded massive spikes in quantum activity. "They're beautiful," breathed Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez from her position at navigation. The crystalline beings pulsed with inner light, creating patterns that seemed to dance across the visible spectrum. Sarah's fingers flew across her console as she recorded everything their sensors could pick up. They're maintaining quantum coherence at a macroscopic scale. Each one exists in multiple states simultaneously. This shouldn't be possible. Are they aware of us? Hayes asked, his voice quiet with awe. As if in response, the crystal formations changed their trajectory, moving in a pattern that couldn't be random. They were approaching the horizon deliberately. They're trying to communicate, Sarah realized, studying the quantum fluctuations. These patterns, they're too regular, too structured. It's language. Hayes activated the ship-wide comm. All hands to stations. First contact protocols are now in effect. This is not a drill. The next few hours were a blur of activity as the crew worked to establish communication. Sarah led the effort, using the ship's quantum computers to analyze and replicate the beings' patterns. Through trial and error, they began to understand. The crystalline entities called themselves the resonants. They existed primarily in quantum superposition. Their consciousness spread across multiple states of reality. They had evolved this way naturally over millions of years, adapting to survive in the quantum foam between normal space and the vacuum. But there was something else in their message, an urgency that transcended the language barrier. The resonants were running from something, a threat so fundamental to reality itself that it had driven them to seek out other intelligent life for the first time in their history. As Sarah worked to decode more of their message, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's understanding of the universe was about to change forever. The resonants weren't just breaking the rules of physics, they were rewriting them. And now they needed humanity's help. The question was, were humans ready for what helping them might mean? The bridge between. Dr. Sarah Chen hadn't slept in 36 hours, but her mind was racing with possibilities. The quantum interface she'd designed was primitive, little more than a modified sensor array coupled with the Horizon's quantum computers, but it was working. Through it, the resonants were sharing their story. They evolved in the quantum realm, she explained to the gathered senior staff. The holographic display showed the crystalline beings shifting through probability states outside the ship. Their entire civilization exists in a state of quantum superposition. They can perceive multiple realities simultaneously. But why come to us? Lieutenant Rodriguez asked. Why now? Sarah's expression grew grave. Because something is hunting them. Something that collapses quantum states permanently. She brought up the resonance warning messages, translated into human language by their quantum interface. They call it the entropy wave. It moves through space, forcing everything it touches into a single fixed state of reality. And that would kill them, Hayes realized. Beings that exist in quantum superposition would be locked into a single state, Sarah finished. Their consciousness, their very existence, depends on maintaining quantum coherence. The wave would effectively crystallize them, turning living beings into lifeless matter. The implications were staggering. The resonance had detected the wave moving through their home region of space, collapsing quantum states in its wake. They'd fled, searching for help, until they found humanity, a species that had just begun to understand quantum mechanics well enough to perceive them. Can we stop it? Hayes asked. Sarah shook her head. Not with our current technology, but the resonance think we might be able to help them evolve. They've observed something unique about human consciousness, our ability to collapse quantum states through observation while maintaining our own quantum coherence at a neural level. You're saying human consciousness has quantum properties? Rodriguez looked skeptical. It's been theorized, Sarah explained. The quantum nature of consciousness could explain things like intuition, creativity, our ability to exist in multiple mental states simultaneously. The resonance believe we might be able to help them develop a similar capacity, to maintain their quantum nature while gaining the ability to interact with classical reality. Before anyone could respond, the ship's AI interrupted. Multiple vessels detected entering the sector. Quantum scanning signatures detected. Hayes straightened. Other species? Yes. Sarah confirmed, checking her readings. The resonance presence here is causing quantum disturbances. Anyone with advanced sensors would have detected them. And now everyone's coming to investigate. Hayes finished grimly. How long do we have? First vessel will arrive in 18 hours, the AI reported. Sarah turned to Hayes. Director, we need to protect them. If too many observers try to study the resonance at once, the combined observation effect could collapse their quantum states. It would kill them. Hayes was quiet for a moment, weighing the implications. Humanity's first contact with an advanced species had just become a race against time. They had to find a way to help the resonance evolve before other species arrived with their own agendas. Dr. Chen, you have full resources. Lieutenant Rodriguez, begin preparations for possible defensive maneuvers. We're not going to let anyone harm these beings. As the meeting broke up, Sarah returned to her lab. The quantum interface hummed with activity as the resonance continued sharing information. They were teaching humanity secrets of quantum physics that would have taken centuries to discover independently. But would it be enough? She pulled up the latest data on the entropy wave. According to the resonance measurements, it was expanding through space at an accelerating rate. Even if they succeeded in helping the resonance evolve, the wave posed a threat to all reality. Anything it touched would be locked into a single quantum state, eliminating possibility itself. Sarah had a feeling they weren't just fighting to save one species anymore. The resonance had discovered humanity just in time to face a threat to the fundamental nature of reality itself. As she watched the crystalline beings shimmer outside her viewport, she wondered if human creativity and determination would be enough to break the rules of physics one more time. Quantum dance. The first alien ship dropped out of FTL, drive 12 hours ahead of schedule. Its sleek, biomechanical hull bristled with scanning arrays that immediately began probing the space around the horizon. Through the quantum interface, Sarah felt the resonance distress as the new observers began forcing their quantum states to partially collapse. Incoming transmission. Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from her station. They're calling themselves the VOF. Their language has similarities to standard galactic protocols. Director Hayes straightened his uniform. Put them through. The view screen flickered to life, showing a reptiloid being with iridescent scales and multiple cybernetic implants. Human vessel, it said through the translation matrix. You have discovered something quite remarkable. We propose a joint research initiative. Our scanning technology is far more advanced than yours. We appreciate the offer, Hayes replied diplomatically, but we're still establishing initial contact protocols. The beings you're detecting are extremely sensitive to observation. Your scans are causing them distress. The VOF's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused. Unfortunate, but necessary. Such beings could revolutionize our understanding of quantum mechanics. Surely you see the greater good in studying them. Sarah stepped forward. Your scans are killing them. Each observation forces their quantum states to collapse. If you continue, you'll destroy the very thing you want to study. Then they are poorly adapted for survival, the VOF replied coldly. Evolution favors species that can withstand observation. We will continue our scans. Hayes cut the transmission. Options. Sarah was already moving to her station. I've been working on something. The quantum interface. We might be able to modify it to create a kind of quantum uncertainty field. It would make observations of the resonance less precise, protecting them from forced collapse. Do it, Hayes ordered. Lieutenant, defensive posture. Let's show our new friends we're serious about protecting the resonance. More ships were arriving. Within hours, the sector was crowded with vessels from different species. Some, like the crystalline X-Reni, came with peaceful intentions. Others, like the militant Corel, made no secret of their desire to weaponize the resonance quantum abilities. Through it all, Sarah worked frantically with her team to strengthen the quantum uncertainty field while continuing to help the resonance. The crystalline beings had begun teaching them how to manipulate quantum states directly, showing them ways to think beyond classical physics. It's like learning to see in a new dimension, Sarah explained to Hayes as they watched the resonance dance through probability space. They don't just exist in quantum superposition, they thrive in it. Each moment for them is filled with infinite possibilities. And the entropy wave would take that all away, Hayes mused. Lock everything into a single timeline, a single state of being. Sarah nodded. The wave isn't just a weapon or a natural phenomenon. It's the death of possibility itself. And it's getting closer. The quantum interface suddenly pulsed with urgent patterns. Sarah's eyes widened as she translated them. The resonance. They're saying they've detected something. The wave, it's accelerating. We have less time than we thought. A warning klaxon sounded through the ship. Multiple vessels powering weapons, Rodriguez reported tensely. The Corel are demanding we withdraw our quantum uncertainty field so they can begin their studies. Hayes looked at Sarah. How close are we to helping the resonance evolve? We're making progress, but we need more time. Days at least. The resonance are learning to maintain quantum coherence, even under observation. But it's delicate work. One mistake could destroy them. Outside the ship, the crystalline forms of the resonance continued their quantum dance, each moment of their existence defying the laws of physics. But now they flickered uncertainly, stretched between too many observers, too many demanding eyes trying to force them into understanding. Sarah watched as another ship dropped out of FTL, its sensors immediately joining the chorus of observers threatening to collapse the resonance quantum states. They were running out of time on multiple fronts: the approaching wave, the aggressive aliens, and the fundamental fragility of beings who existed in quantum superposition. But as she worked, Sarah began to notice something strange in the quantum interface readings. The resonance weren't just teaching humanity about quantum physics anymore. They were showing them something else, something about the nature of consciousness itself. And in those patterns, she began to see a possibility that no one, not even the resonance, had considered before. Breaking point. All shields at maximum, Hayes ordered as another Corel energy burst rocked the horizon. Status of the quantum uncertainty field. Sarah's fingers flew across her console, making constant adjustments. Holding, but we're losing power. We can't maintain it much longer. Outside the ship, the resonance crystalline forms flickered dangerously as competing sensor beams tried to force them into classical states. But Sarah's mind was racing with the implications of what she'd discovered in the quantum interface patterns. Director, I need to try something. It's risky, but I think I understand what the resonance have been trying to show us. Multiple ships launching attack drones, Rodriguez warned. They're trying to penetrate the uncertainty field. Hayes turned to Sarah. Whatever you're thinking, do it fast. Sarah activated the quantum interface's full broadcast mode. The resonance have been teaching us about quantum physics, yes, but they've also been studying us. Studying how human consciousness can exist in both quantum and classical states simultaneously. Our brains maintain quantum coherence in our neurons while also interacting with normal matter. Through the interface, she began transmitting new patterns to the resonance. Not just data, but the actual quantum signature of human consciousness itself. We don't have to help them evolve. We have to help them understand how we perceive reality. The ship shuddered as another attack got through their defenses. Hull breach on Deck C. Rodriguez reported. Emergency force fields engaging. But something was happening to the resonance. Their crystalline forms began pulsing with new patterns, mimicking the quantum signatures Sarah was sending them. They were learning, adapting, beginning to understand how to exist in both states at once. Entropy wave detected. The AI's warning cut through the chaos, approaching at accelerating velocity. Impact in 17 minutes. Through the viewport, they could see it now. A wall of pure possibility collapse, spreading across space like a tsunami of inevitability. Everything it touched was forced into a single quantum state. All other possibilities erased forever. The resonance are changing, Sarah reported, watching the readings in awe. They're not just copying our consciousness patterns, they're improving on them, creating a new way of existing. Suddenly, her console erupted in alerts. The quantum interface was overloading, flooded with more data than it was designed to handle. The resonance weren't just learning from humanity. They were trying to teach them something in return. Sarah, Hayes called out in alarm as energy began crackling around her station. But Sarah couldn't look away from the patterns flowing through the interface. In that moment of connection, she understood what the resonance were trying to show them. It wasn't just about surviving the wave or the hostile aliens. It was about the next step in evolution. For both species. The wave isn't just destruction, she whispered. It's change. And we don't have to fight it. We have to transcend it. The quantum interface blazed with impossible energy as Sarah made her decision. Instead of trying to protect the resonance from observation, she opened her mind fully to them through the interface. In that moment of complete connection, human consciousness met quantum being, and both began to transform. The entropy wave was minutes away now, its front edge beginning to affect local spacetime. The hostile alien ships were breaking through their defenses. Everything was coming to a breaking point. But in that moment of crisis, Sarah felt her consciousness expanding, guided by the resonance understanding of quantum reality. And she realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their determination. It was their ability to adapt, to change, to break through limitations that seemed absolute. As the wave approached and alarms blared throughout the ship, Sarah Chen prepared to do something that had never been done before. Merge human consciousness with quantum beings to create something entirely new. The only question was whether they could complete the transformation before the wave erased all other possibilities forever. Evolution's edge. Time seemed to slow as Sarah's consciousness expanded through the quantum interface. The resonance crystalline forms pulsed in sync with her thoughts, their quantum states interweaving with her own awareness. Through their shared connection, she felt the crew of the Horizon joining in, their minds linking together in a network of quantum possibilities. The wave. Rodriguez's voice seemed to come from both her physical form and her expanding consciousness. 1 minute to impact. The hostile alien ships were still firing, their weapons barely held back by the horizon's failing shields. But Sarah barely noticed. She was seeing reality as the resonance saw it, not as fixed points in space and time, but as clouds of probability and potential. Everyone, she broadcast through the ship's comm. Don't fight it. Open your minds to the resonance. Let them show you how to exist in quantum superposition. Through their merged consciousness, Sarah felt the crew's confusion turn to understanding. Human minds, already capable of maintaining quantum coherence in their neural networks, began to resonate with the crystalline being's quantum frequencies. The entropy wave hit. Reality shuddered as possibilities began collapsing into certainty, but where the wave touched the merged consciousness of humans and resonance, something unexpected happened. Instead of forcing them into a single state, the wave's energy was absorbed, transformed, and redirected. We're not just existing in quantum superposition, Sarah realized, her thoughts echoing through the merged consciousness. We're learning to control it, to shape reality itself. The hostile ship's weapons fire froze in mid-blast as probability fields wrapped around them. The Corel and other aggressive species watched in shock as their certain victory dissolved into a cloud of quantum possibilities. Through their shared awareness, Sarah felt the resonance joy and wonder. They had sought out humanity hoping to learn how to survive in classical space. Instead, they had found partners in the next step of evolution, beings who could bridge the gap between quantum and classical reality. The entropy wave passed through them, but they were no longer bound by its rules. The merged consciousness of humans and resonance existed in both states at once, able to collapse or maintain quantum superposition at will. They had transcended the very limitations that the wave sought to impose. Hours later, as the transformed crew of the Horizon began to understand their new existence, the hostile ships withdrew. The threat of force meant nothing to beings who could choose which probability to make real. What do we do now? Hayes asked, his consciousness still linked with the others, but his human voice carrying the weight of command. Sarah watched the resonance dance through probability space, their crystalline forms now echoing with human patterns. We learn, we grow. We show others that evolution doesn't have to mean leaving everything behind. It can mean bringing the best of both worlds together. Through their shared quantum network, she felt the resonance agreement. They had come seeking salvation from the wave, but they had found something far more valuable, a way to evolve beyond the limitations of either quantum or classical existence. The Horizon's quantum sensors detected more ships arriving in the sector. But these weren't hostile. They were curious, drawn by the unprecedented merger of two forms of consciousness. Some were former enemies, now approaching with overtures of peace, eager to understand what humanity and the resonance had achieved together. They want to learn, Rodriguez observed through the quantum link. They want to understand how we broke the rules. Sarah smiled, feeling the endless possibilities spreading out before them. Then we'll teach them. After all, that's what humanity does best. We take what seems impossible, and we make it real. We break the rules not because we're rebellious, but because we can see beyond them to something better. The merged consciousness of humans and resonance rippled with agreement. They had not only survived the wave, they had transcended it, creating a new form of existence that combined the best of both species. Physical bodies housing quantum minds, able to shift between states at will, creating new possibilities with every moment. As the Horizon prepared to begin sharing their discovery with the wider galaxy, Sarah felt the truth of what they had achieved. The resonance had sought out humanity because they sensed something special in them, not just their technology or their determination, but their fundamental ability to adapt, to change, to see beyond the apparent rules of reality. Together, they had proved that the greatest discoveries don't come from fighting against the laws of nature, but from understanding them deeply enough to transcend them. In breaking the rules, they had written new ones, rules that opened up possibilities instead of limiting them. The story of humanity and the resonance would spread across the galaxy, a testament to what could be achieved when different forms of consciousness worked together. They had faced the ultimate threat to reality itself and emerged transformed, proving that even the most fundamental rules could be broken when imagination and understanding came together as one. The quantum dance of possibility continued, and the universe would never be quite the same again.